All right. Welcome to week 3. I hope you had a great week 2. Building on weeks 2, where we covered the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, we're now going to go into civil liberties and civil rights, which leads into my prompt for the week. Here's the question. Are you ready? What is civil rights? What is civil liberties? And what are the differences between civil rights and civil liberties? Okay. Now here comes my cheat. You ready for it? All right. When the founders of the country first came together to make the United States, we had the Articles of Confederation, and they weren't perfect, but they were a pretty good document. And they wanted to create a new form of government within that, which was the Constitution. So you had the Anti-Federalists on one side, and you had the Federalists on the other. Anti-Federalists loved the Constitution as it was. This is not having, at this point in time, not having the Bill of Rights. But the Federalists, which we understand as being, co-managing, we have states' rights and we have central government's powers, right? Or both have powers. The Federalists said we want some guaranteed civil liberties to the states, which means indirectly into you as the people. So they voted on and accepted the Bill of Rights, and that became the Constitution as a whole. So when we think about the Bill of Rights, when we say it's a right, it's actually a civil liberty. To put it another way, let's go with the First Amendment. Your first right, the first right, which is freedom of the press, freedom of speech, freedom to petition your government, which means that in this last year, there was a Supreme Court case ruling that said that the government could not put protesters and could not put petitioners, now I'm not referring to rioters, in the little boxes way over here on this other street, so you could hold signs up saying, I protest, away from those you've gotten elected. Supreme Court ruled no. You have the right to face them, which means they've got to go right past you while you're protesting. They can't put us in a little box somewhere else. Okay? And again, I'm not referring to rioting, that's different. But protesting, petitioning your government, that is a civil liberty. It's one of our Bill of Rights. Second one, of course, we all know the right to bear arms. Since about 2008, the Supreme Court's made 3 major cases where they've said, as a civil liberty, the people have the right to bear arms. And in each case, they addressed a certain liberty that was being denied to individuals within the country. Now we can go with the big one. Who's ever seen SVU, that crime show on television, right? And they get them standing there like, admit it, you did this. And the guy says, he's up there, right? He works for the mob. He's like, I plead the fifth. And you're thinking, oh, yeah, I know this guy's guilty. Well, maybe he's not. Maybe he really isn't guilty. The Bill of Rights grants a civil liberty, which, sorry, my dog is fighting, grants you the right to plead the fifth, to say, you know what, I don't have to self-incriminate. You can't make me answer this question and make myself guilty. So I'm going to go to my attorney. He can answer the question for me. I'm literally practicing my liberty of not answering your question. I plead the fifth. So that's another civil liberty. Okay, let's go back to a civil right. Now, again, I love to read off examples, so I'm going to read some off for you, okay? Here we go. Civil rights are those that are granted by a government for the protection of its citizens in respect to guaranteeing fairness and checking discrimination. Civil liberties are the basic rights guaranteed to all citizens in a country without any further speciality. Very broad. Civil rights means an individual's right to get equal treatment in cases of education, housing, employment, and a lot more. Civil rights means free from discrimination or unfair treatment. On the other hand, civil liberties are broader rights guaranteed in the Constitution. Unlike civil rights, civil liberties are protective in character. Civil rights pertain to the concept of how an individual is treated by others, and civil liberties pertain to the actual freedoms that an individual enjoys under the Constitution. Now, to go further with this, civil rights pertain to equal treatment of an individual irrespective of age, gender, race, and disability. Now, there's more to this than just these examples. On the other hand, civil liberties are broader rights guaranteed in the Constitution. Civil rights pertain to the concept of how an individual is treated by others. Civil liberties pertain to the actual freedoms that an individual enjoys under Constitution. Unlike civil rights, the civil liberties are protective in character. Now, there's a great website. I love going on websites and looking this up because I know that it gives you ideas to look them up yourself. This site is called www.differencebetween.net, and I'm actually reading up on liberties. Again, I like using websites because it gets you out there and thinking, well, if he can find it, I can find it, so go find it. Okay? All right. Have a great week. Look forward to your posts. And there we go. I will be posting later this week a longer video covering the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I know we've already covered that, but because so much of this course is built upon the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, I'm going to spend a video talking about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, more about why it came about, how it's covered, and then also too, the Constitution just to kind of come up out of nowhere. It was built upon older laws, which we call English laws, which is where we got our laws from. A lot of the attorneys that were involved in making the Constitution, they are practicing attorneys, practicing lawyers in the English system of government, English system of law. So I'm going to go back and cover things like Black's Law, the Magna Carta, why that's important leading up to the Constitution, and so on. There are a lot of constitutions since ours. The Republic of Iran, or the Islamic Republic of Iran, has a constitution which is really cool. Half of it is its religious leadership, and half of it is the people. I'm going to go into some of the not only the constitution, but what Canada has. China is a republic. I like to kind of go into those as comparative constitutions. It's much broader, but I'll make those videos available to you. It's not really part of this course, but if you get into this, you really like it, there's some cool videos. All right, have a great week. Look forward to your comments.